Um, yeah. Haha. Off the top of the dome. Here we go right now. Catch me walking down your block like a labradoodle. I keep my flow so hot like it's ramen noodles. You know I go so hard. When I shop at Rite Aid, I bring my discount card. Oh! Man, I'm so white. If you wonder where I'd be at Applebee's tonight. Yeah, potato wedges, hot wings, and some ranch dressing. I leave that to go plate like I be flexing. What? Cut that off. Cut that off. Cut that off. That was fucking awful. God, I'm so sorry, guys. I thought I'd come in with a little hip hop, but I didn't realize how white I sounded till like I heard myself talk. And that wasn't off the top of the dome either. I totally rehearsed that. Anyway, welcome to the podcast, everybody. I still got that reverb on. I don't have a guest this week due to some scheduling errors on my part, but I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit. We'll make this one short and sweet so you can get on with your weekend. I really appreciate everybody who's listened so far. I say that every week, but I mean, I can't emphasize it enough how much that means to me. It's a slow build up. You know, I have really big hopes and dreams for the Attic Productions, but you know, it's a slow build up. So everybody who's supporting me right now, you know, liking, following, sharing, I'd really like some more comments. You know, this is my first ever podcast. This is my first ever, I don't know, entryway into what I'm trying to do here. So any feedback is more than welcome on my end. You know, shit on me, love me. I don't care what it is. I want to hear it all. I just want to make this better. I want to make it entertaining for you guys and also get my point across. So if I can do both those things, mission accomplished. So let me know anything you have to tell me. Comment on Facebook or Instagram, or, you know, really comment anywhere that you know about me or, you know, the Attic Productions. If it's on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, everything like that. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but like I said, we're going to make it short and sweet today. I do have a couple corrections from the last couple podcasts that I would like to address on this episode. It's pretty hard to believe that I've done 3 episodes so far, and there's already errors. I would like to address the Madonna elephant in the room. So last episode, I talked about a story where my dad gave me some lyrics, and he told me they were his friends, but really they were Madonna lyrics. I I would like to point out in that story when me and my friend Cameron commented that the lyrics were sexual. They weren't. They weren't. We interpreted it that way, but we were misremembering the actual lyrics. It wasn't "oh babies, oh babies." It was "mms," "mms," as in M times 5, like 5 M's. "Mms." And you know, I have nothing against Madonna. You know, I maybe it was interpreted that way, that I have some ill feelings towards Madonna, but that is not the case. I think she's a wonderful artist. I don't listen to her personally. I know of a few songs of hers from the 80s that I've heard at parties and background environments, and all I want to say is I got no beef with Madonna, you know, and so I'm going to leave it at that. Really what I would like the main theme of this episode to be is priorities. You know, that's something that I've, you know, really struggled with in my life and still do to this day. And, you know, I kind of want to touch on it a little bit. I do, and on the subject of corrections, I've listened to a few of the past episodes I've put out, and a big push of it, and that's not even a thing. A main point I'm trying to push, you know, in a lot of my episodes is that if you're in a rut, it's okay to admit that you're in a rut and to take steps to get out of it, you know, because the first step in that is admitting it. And I feel like maybe in the last episode, you know, what I said may have came off as, you know, get ready to quit your job and do music. That's not what I'm trying to get across at all. Like I've commented on the past couple episodes, I work a full-time job right now. In fact, it's the main reason why I'm exhausted. It's a reason why I haven't, done more with the podcast that I'd like to. It's the reason why, I have songs backed up that I'm wanting to release, but I haven't yet. And it's all because, I work really hard, and I do that so that I can afford the place I have right now where I'm able to record and have people over. And I'm able to set myself up for a future involving music. And there's nothing wrong with that. I have a lot of other friends that have put music way higher on their priority list, and they're working part-time jobs. Nothing wrong with that either. I know other people who don't even have a job right now. They live with their parents, or they live with maybe their spouse or somebody else, where they're able to pursue music as their full-time career. And there's nothing wrong with that either. The point being, prioritizing your priorities. And it's all what you're wanting to do. For me, I want my whole life to be involved with music. There's not a day that goes by where, I'm not inspired by something that I listen to. There's not a day that goes by where I don't have an idea in my head that I want to, bring to fruition. And as long as I keep, on the path that gets those goals achieved, that's what matters. It's when I want to do things, but I'm making excuses or putting other things that are less important in front of that overall keep me from achieving my goals. That's what's not okay. And I think that point gets maybe a little confused sometimes, and I think it's the reason why a lot of people I know that are really talented aren't fully going after their ambitions and their dreams, and that's a problem. I would like to push, I keep saying push, I would like to promote in this podcast the idea of it being okay to admit, when you're lost or confused, and finding a community of people who feel the same way, that found ways out of it or are still trying to find ways out of it that you can help. That's a huge part of my dream, with this podcast. I'm a huge fan of podcasts. I listen to them every day, and some of them are for entertainment. Some of them are for motivation. Some of them are, I don't know what they're for, but, they're entertaining, so you listen to them. And, priorities is what it's all about. If you're struggling with that, I'd recommend writing them down, writing down what you want to do, and, taking small steps to achieve that. I preach a lot. I don't always practice what I preach. I'm an imperfect person. Lately that's what I've been struggling with. Like I said, I work full time, so it causes me to be really, really tired. Sometimes when I have free time, I don't want to use it to, do what I want to do rather than just use it to relax. And there's nothing wrong with that either. But, I'm trying to work on ways to, make that better about myself. But, I would love to hear from anybody else who is going through, a little bit of a funk with music, or, really anything you're trying to do. If you're an artist, you like to paint, if your dream is, teaching something, or going and learning something new, I'd love to hear about that. I really would love to build a community with, this podcast and the Attic Productions, where, people can share things like that. And I'd love to even work with some of y'all that are involved with music. I have a lot of friends in the Houma, New Orleans area that are, really talented musicians, but, they don't always like to have time to come do what I want to do with them. Or, I'm always looking to meet new people. I'm trying to follow people on the Attic Productions. Anyone who has a craft that you're posting about it, I want to follow you. So, DM me, do whatever you want to do. Like I said, right now we're just on Facebook and Instagram, but I want to expand past that at some point. I have a lot of things I'm also wanting to do with the Attic Productions. I'm not going to dive too deep into it right now until I have it created, so, I can put my money where my mouth is. But if anybody has anything, creative that they like to do, get at me with it. I want to be a part of it. I have a whole bunch of lanes I want to take the Attic Productions in, so, let's make it happen. Priorities. There's a lot to say about priorities. I think also when you're dealing with your priorities, it's important to learn how to exercise patience. Patience is something I feel like a few of us have. I feel like that's more of a thing now in this day and age than it ever has been because, everything you can link back to or find an excuse to relate it to social media or any of the stigmas of today's culture. But really, I think patience is lost because everything's instantaneous now. You hear it talked about all the time. I actually had a little bit of a funk last weekend because my phone died out of nowhere. Lesson to everybody out there, overcharging your phone is a real thing. I don't know I've never had a phone that it happened using a regular charger, but I use this nifty wireless charger, and I have for probably the past year. And last weekend, my phone just decided to completely just die. It just went out. They wanted me to spend like $250 to buy a whole brand new phone, but I took it to this dude, like this high school stoner dude that worked at an iPhone repair shop, and he was the most help I had all day. I talked to like 4 people at that Sprint store because I have Sprint, and they were all giving me the runaround, just trying to sell me a new phone. And then this stoner dude at the phone repair place is like, "Bro, I got you." And he opens up my phone, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I see your problem. Your battery's swollen, bro." I'm like, "Oh yeah, is that the problem?" He's like, "Yeah, man, we can get you a new one." So he swapped out the battery. Anyway, it was hard to exercise patience in that moment, and I realized, like, I'm like, I had to learn from scratch how to even find the Sprint store. There was so many times in that day I went to pull out my phone to do something, and I'm like, oh wait, I don't have a phone right now. And then even when I need to go to the Sprint store, I'm like, ooh, I can't Google where the Sprint store is. And then I'm like, how did people 20 years ago figure this out? And I had to put on my thinking cap. A phone book? I don't have a phone book. Ask a neighbor? No neighbors are home. I was like trying to run through stone tablets to figure out how to, get to the Sprint store. And then I couldn't figure it out from memory. And then I got to the Sprint store, and then boom, they want me to buy a new phone. So while I'm considering it, thinking about my finances, I go to check the banking app on my phone. Oh, wait. Doesn't exist right now. So what do? I have to go to the bank, like the olden days, like the Flintstones. I might as well push my car with my feet on the way there. Luckily, the bank I used was right across the street from the mall where the Sprint store was, so it worked out pretty well. But the point being, everything's instantaneous right now, and it kind of kills your patience. I thought a lot about patience on the way here. My patience, people's patience, my lack of patience in traffic. Man, people just do whatever the hell they want to get around in traffic. Patience, I guess they say, is a virtue, but I think it's just a necessary component of life. And it also plays a huge part in dealing with your priorities. I'm probably the last one to talk when it comes to priorities. I'm a huge procrastinator. My kind of feeling in life is to roll with what makes you happy. And sometimes what makes me happy is doing nothing. But that's me being in my comfort zone, which is also another important thing to break out of. If you stay in your comfort zone and you're trying to achieve things that are outside of your current lane of thinking, then, you're never going to achieve what you want to do. Meaning, if you have big ideas, but you're just hanging around, thinking about them, you're waiting for something to drop on your lap, which probably almost never happens. So, and I'm saying this because it's something I do. Also, with trying to motivate, maybe someone else who's listening to this podcast, I'm also trying to change my own way of thinking and to try to get things done. And, I'm moving towards it. Point being, I'm an imperfect human as well, but, if you have something you're trying to achieve, go after it. Like Travis said last week, don't make a plan. Don't think about it too much. Just do it, and just doing it can be as simple as starting an Instagram page. If you're an artist, you have some art that's just chilling in your room, chilling in your hallway. You've never done anything with it. You've never even told anybody you like to draw. People think you're just the cashier at Walmart. You know, and you might be a damn good cashier at Walmart. I'm not hating on your cashier skills, bro. Do your cashier thing, man. I was never a cashier, but I was a stock guy. I was the best damn stock person at Walmart once upon a time, believe it or not. Nothing wrong with achieving your Walmart dreams. But if you're going to Walmart and you're working super hard and you're like, man, I'm ready to get off to do some more stuff with my art, and then your homie at Walmart's like, hey, bro, you do art? And you're like, yeah, man, I do the hell out of art. And they're like, man, I didn't know that. And I was like, wow, that's one fan. You just made one fan. You know, all he said is didn't know you did art, but if he saw that art, he'd be like, man, I'll buy that right now. Get your art up on Instagram. Get your music up on social media. You know, do something with it. Baby steps. I met a really cool person at Art After Dark in Homa, and that's kind of like an art festival at night that the town puts on. I don't know if it's every year, maybe every few months or so, but it was the first time I had ever heard of it. It was about a month ago. And this girl does anime art, and it was really, really cool. I like certain anime shows. You know, I'm not a huge anime connoisseur, but I know a few things, and she had this drawing that I bought from her. I'm going to be putting up in the attic this weekend. I'm going to definitely post a picture of that on the Attic Productions, but, you know, she's super, super talented, and, you know, she has art up on her Instagram, and I'm really happy to see that. I wish she would put up, you know, some more, maybe, you know, even a exclusive Instagram for that art, you know, and there's so many other lanes that you can use social media for, you can use YouTube for, and I get really, really excited whenever I see people I know or see people from my area that are doing something like that and putting it up online and kind of trying to create a name for themselves. You know, I'll always do whatever I can to help promote and push those people forward to where I see them doing it in big time one day. And there's so many things you can do nowadays to get that happen. So I really, really, you know, just want to emphasize that the Attic Productions is here for local artists of all kinds. You know, this is less about me and more about working with people I really want to work with, and more about, you know, promoting local people and it's bringing that back to a town that I love. You know, I love Houma, Louisiana. You know, there's a lot of negative sides to it, you know, especially this day and age with all the politics and everything going on in our world, that I think that what we need is a sense of community. What we need is for people to get together and to enjoy something that, you know, everyone loves and makes you forget about all the other bullshit going on. And that's also a thing I think this town really has. You know, they put on a lot of local festivals, a lot of, maybe not enough, but a lot of local events, especially with some really cooler venues in the downtown area. You know, people put on things and everybody gets together and everybody knows most of everybody. And, you know, if it's a good show with music, if it's that art festival, everyone gets together and kind of displays their art that they make, you know, in their Walmart free time. And I really, really love that. And I think it's growing a little bit more, and I want to grow it to a huge scene here in Houma. So if you have any ideas that can help me do that, please reach out to me. If you have any, you know, music you want to share, if you have anything that I can help you promote, please feel free to DM me. I have an email address for the Attic Productions, theatticproductions1@gmail. So hit me up at there. I really love you guys for listening to me, and, you know, I really want to do more with this. That's about all I have time for today. I really appreciate it, again, everybody who's tuned in to listen. My podcasts are usually an hour long. This one's a little, you know, short and sweet and nugget to give you guys a little bit to get you through the next week. Normally, I ask my guests at the end of every episode to perform something. Of course, I am my own guest today, so I'm going to play a little acoustic blues medley for you guys, kind of show off some of my skills. You know, I'm going to do a little jamming, since we are jamming in the attic. Once again, like and subscribe. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts. I have a new podcast coming out soon, you guys, called Just Chillin', starring me and my cousin Matt Talbot. He is one of the funniest guys I know, and I'm lucky to have him in my very own family. So we get together and we bullshit about old stories, and I learn about a whole bunch from his past anyway, that we're going to do it on a podcast, and we're going to have a new guest each week. We'll probably do it every 2 weeks starting off. Like I said, you guys show us some love. We'll put out more content. That's all I want to do is put out more content, but I don't want to put anything out that no one wants to listen to. So, hit us up, like and subscribe. It's going to be a really fun podcast. I have more about that coming out on Facebook and Instagram, so follow us there. And like I said, I want to reiterate, if you have any ideas, any artistic ideas that you'd like to throw my way, maybe we can work on something together, get at me. Other than that, thank you guys for tuning in today, and I'll be seeing you guys soon. Thanks.